on to limericks. So limericks are super fun both to write and to say. My favorite pastime is just reading limericks. Some of them are hilarious. So this is a classic limerick. Limericks first became really popular when someone wrote about specifically using the word Nantucket in a poem. I'm not sure if this is the original one. Yes, I think this is the original Nantucket limerick. However, there have been several others created. When this was first published, it kind of made a big splash, and everyone was like, I want to write those. So, a lot of people wrote limericks. A lot of them are hilarious. If you go ahead and Google them, you might find yourself laughing out loud. So, without any further ado, how to break down a limerick. So they are a little complicated. That's because you have to get the right number of beats and the right rhymes. So a bit trickier than just making sure that you have the right syllable count. So, for limericks, the most obvious thing is the rhyme pattern. So I'm going to read this first, listen to the rhymes, and then I'll tell you what the rhyme scheme is. There once was a man from Nantucket who kept all his cash in a bucket. But his daughter named Nan ran away with a man, and as for the bucket, Nantucket. So, this poem is great. I just love reading it. I could read it 5 times over. I won't. So, our rhyme scheme. You may have heard that the rhyming, the first line, the second line, and the 5th line all rhyme. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark these with A. There we go. So we have 3 lines that rhyme. Nantucket, bucket, and Nantucket again. Then we're going to put the other 2, Nan and Man, we're going to mark those with a B. So our rhyme scheme here is A, A, B, B, A, which A, B, B, A is the correct rhyme scheme for a limerick. Now, on to the most tricky aspect of a limerick, the syllable count. So they don't have a specific syllable count. Rather, limericks are each line is supposed to have a kind of a syllable count range. So you might want to follow along with the week 1 part 1 examples sheet that I added to the Google assignment, just so that you can have something to look at. So in the first, second, and third lines, you can see these are all a little bit longer, there's supposed to be 8 or 9 syllables in them. It's best if the syllable count matches, so either all 3 have 8 syllables, or all 3 have 9 syllables. You can just use 8 and 9 syllables, so it could be like 8 syllables, 9 syllables, 9 syllables, but it sounds best if they all match, so 8, 8, 8, or 9, 9, 9. For the 3rd and 4th lines, these ones should have either 5 or 6 syllables. And again, they should match syllable count, so they should both have 5 or both have 6. But if you want to mix and match, that is okay as well. So, we're going to just count the syllables real quickly. Rather than making you sit through me counting another syllable count, I'm going to just tell you, there's 9 syllables in the first one. Oh, it would help if I could type 9 syllables in the second one, 6 syllables in the 3rd line, 6 syllables in the 2nd line, and 9 syllables in the 5th line. Alright, and now we're going to just break these down. So I'm going to give myself a couple of lines here, just to have some writing room. Alright, with limericks, because so much of their meaning, their quality, comes from the sound of them, the rhyming and the syllable count, they don't often say a whole lot. So, if you don't find anything to write about in one of the lines, that's totally fine. So, for example, this first line, there once was a man from Nantucket. Cool. There was a man, he was from Nantucket. That's about all it's saying, so we don't really have to write any notes about that. Who kept all his cash in a bucket? not very smart. So, maybe judge his judgment a little bit there. But again, it's pretty simple. It's saying all of his money, he's keeping it in a bucket. And this is telling us that he has a daughter named Nan. But his daughter named Nan. So again, pretty simple. And then she ran away with a man. Okay, there's nothing really hidden here. No fancy use of imagery or anything. But this last line is pure gold. And as for the bucket, Nantucket. So it does just repeat the word Nantucket, but this is also a pun. It's a play on words. So rather than saying Nan took it, they're saying Nantucket. So, yeah, it's a really cool play on words. It's a pun. Limericks usually have a lot of really good puns. The last line is almost always like a zinger. So, definitely keep an eye out. And when you try to write your own limerick, just try to be funny with it. Limericks are hilarious. I don't think I've ever read any non-hilarious limericks. So if you can think of one, that would be cool. Alright, and now to the analysis part. So, again, there's not much to analyze here, just because it's very straightforward. So there once was a man from Nantucket who kept all his cash in a bucket, but his daughter named Nan ran away with a man. That's all just what it says. So, we're just going to reiterate how this is a syllable, how this is a limerick. So, we're going to say this poem, we know this poem is a limerick, because each line meets the syllable count and rhyme scheme for one. Alright, we're going to talk about what it tells us about. So, it tells the story of a man whose daughter eloped. We're going to assume that's what it means when she ran away with. She eloped with and stole all of his money. So, and then, yeah, we're going to say, we only need one of. There we go. I swear, I can type. Alright. So, my favorite part of this poem is when the author says Nantucket, line 5, instead of Nan took it. I think this is a very clever pun. And I'm just going to add a note in there about how I think that maybe you should have kept it somewhere safer than a bucket. So, that being said, and probably would not have, probably, would not have been able to steal the money if the man, or if it was kept somewhere safer than in a bucket. And in a bucket is a quote, so we're going to stick the line in there, and there we go. We have analyzed a limerick. Alright, and that is it for this week, folks. Please remember to get in touch with me if you have any questions or need any help, and I look forward to seeing your own breakdown of some of these really cool poems and reading what you write for your own.